point, last mark here, number 5. Learn from disciples and make more disciples. See, a disciple pays it forward by sharing what they've learned with others. 2 Timothy 2:2 says, "You have heard me teach. Now I want you to tell these same things to followers who can be trusted to tell others." Here's a big question for you. Who is teaching you? Who's pouring into you? You know, I would not be up here today if God hadn't used all the people in my life to pour into me.
Right.
You know, Pastor Marco, he's not here right now, but I know that what Pastor Marco has done in my life, and a lot of our lives, is present today.
Right.
That's all because of discipleship. The question is, who's discipling you?
Mm-hmm.
Who's teaching you?
Right.
Who's pouring into you?
Right.
Now, if you're saying, I don't have anybody to teach me, you come to the right place. I believe this is a place where you can be discipled. You can find someone to pour into you. Find a leader, a man of God or a woman of God who's been through some things, who's fought some fights, who is being poured into and wants to pour into you.
Right.
Amen.
Scripture says, Paul's telling Timothy, you heard me teach. He's saying now it's time for you to pour it into somebody else.
Right.
But first we got to be taught. See, we can't say we're being discipled if no one is teaching us. Constantly attending my discipleship group, or it's a small group, or where we learn, we study the word, and we get poured into. When I'm constantly attending that is one of the most important practices of my life.
Amen.
Very important because it helps me to be poured into.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Is there any point in our lives where we say, I'm done being poured into?
No.
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 Never.
Even as a pastor and as a leader, we need to be poured into.
That's right.
I got another question for you. Who are you pouring into?
Woo! Come on.
Who are you teaching?
Come on.
There are people God will place in your life that He wants you to share with.
Well,
You know how you know if God is bringing someone in your life that He wants you to share with?
come on.
They're probably hurting.
That part.
They're probably lost.
Right.
They're probably broken.
Right.
They probably got some pain.
Right.
God's going to bring people in your life. He may even, for all the parents in here, your kids are your disciples. If you have kids, God has entrusted you with these kids to pour into them, to train them up, to bring them to church, to sign them up for the kids camp or the youth conference coming up. God is entrusting us with our children, with our families. Who else is God bringing by in front of you to teach or to pour into? Could it be a family member? Could it be a hurting coworker? Could it be someone you met?
Come on.
And maybe the first place you can lead them is just by bringing them into the house of God. A place where God will meet them right here. A place where they will hear the gospel. A place where they'll be loved. A place where they can be set free and delivered. A place where they can find peace and hope again. Who is God calling you to pour into?
Right.
John 13:17, last verse. Now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them. Now that you know what the 5 marks of a true disciple are, God will bless you for walking in them. God will bless you for loving and following Jesus, for loving one another, for abiding in His word, for bearing much fruit, and for making disciples. I want all of us to stand this morning.